Welcome to AI Book Highlights. This week we're exploring a real classic, James Allen's As a Man Thinketh. It was published way back in 1902, believe it or not.
Yeah, it's amazing how relevant it still feels, though, isn't it?
Totally. It's this small book, but it really packs a powerful message about, well, the connection between what we think and what happens in our lives.
Definitely a foundational text for understanding the mind's power.
So think of this as your rapid download of its core wisdom. Over, say, the next 10 or 12 minutes, we're going to unpack 5 key insights from Allen's work.
And then follow up with 3 practical things you can actually do, starting today.
Sounds good. Let's get started. Okay, so the absolute foundation, the cornerstone of Allen's whole philosophy, is this idea. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he.
It's such a well-known phrase. But Allen really digs into it. He's not just saying it's a nice thought. He argues that our character, who we fundamentally are, is basically the complete sum of all our thoughts, accumulated over time, you know.
A complete sum. That's quite a statement.
It is. He uses the analogy of a plant springing from a seed. Our actions, he says, they just naturally arise from the hidden seeds of our thoughts.
Ah, okay, so actions are like the visible part, the result.
Exactly. He has that quote, act is the blossom of thought, and joy and suffering are its fruits. It paints that picture, right?
Yeah, cause and effect, but started internally.
Precisely, and the implication is huge. We're not just blown about by chance. There's a kind of law here, just like in the physical world, but operating in our thoughts.
Which is actually pretty empowering when you think about it.
Totally. Allen emphasizes that we are the masters of our thoughts, the molders of our character. And if that's true, then we're also the makers of our condition, our environment, even our destiny.
That's a powerful takeaway right there. Okay, so moving on, how does this connect to our actual circumstances? Allen uses that great analogy, the mind as a garden.
Yes. I love that one. His point is, our minds are always producing something, whether we consciously tend to them or not.
Like a garden, right. If you ignore it, it doesn't stay empty.
Exactly. It just fills up with weeds. So if we don't actively plant useful seeds, which for Allen means, positive, constructive thoughts, then useless weeds like negative thoughts, worry, fear, they'll just take root automatically.
The book puts it very clearly.
Yeah.
The outer conditions of a person's life will always be found to be harmoniously related to his inner state.
Now, it's probably important to say this isn't always like a super simple, immediate one-to-one thing. Life's complicated.
Sure, yeah.
But Allen's pointing to a deeper harmony, a long-term relationship. The thoughts we habitually entertain, the ones we build into our character over time, well, they inevitably lead us to where we are now.
So our circumstances aren't random.
According to Allen, no, not fundamentally. There's no real element of chance in how our lives unfold in the grand scheme of things. It's the result of our inner world manifesting outwardly.
He also has that powerful statement. Men do not attract that which they want, but that which they are.
Yes, that cuts right to it, doesn't it? It's not about wishful thinking or just wanting something really badly. It's about the kind of person our thoughts have shaped us into, our deepest beliefs, our character. That's what actually draws our experiences to us, for better or worse.
Okay, that makes sense. It's a deeper alignment. Now, Allen pushes this even further. He connects our thoughts directly to our physical health and our bodies.
He does. And this is perhaps one of the more striking parts of the book for modern readers. He sees the body as the servant of the mind.
The servant.
Yeah, it basically obeys the mind's commands, whether those commands are deliberate or, subconscious. So negative thoughts, fear, anger, anxiety can actually lead towards disease and decay.
Whereas positive thoughts.
Positive, clean, happy thoughts, they can bring vitality, youthfulness, even beauty, he suggests. It's a very strong mind-body connection he's proposing.
He uses a pretty intense example, something like, thoughts of fear have been known to kill a man as speedily as a bullet.
Yeah, that's a very dramatic illustration.
Yeah.
But the principle behind it, well, we see echoes of it today, don't we? Think about chronic stress.
Right. The physical toll it takes.
Exactly. Anxiety definitely demoralizes the body, weakens it. And Allen would say impure thoughts can sort of shatter the nervous system over time. But on the flip side, strong, pure, happy thoughts build up vigor and grace. It's about the quality of thought impacting the physical structure.
So the takeaway is quite direct then. If you would protect your body, guard your mind.
And if you would renew your body, beautify your mind, it puts the power and the responsibility right back in our heads.
Okay, let's shift to the idea of purpose. Allen argues that without a clear purpose, our thoughts just drift, and that leads to unhappiness.
That's a key point for him. Aimlessness isn't just neutral, he sees it as a vice, a state that breeds worries, fears, self-pity, all sorts of unproductive mental states.
So what's the solution?
To conceive of a legitimate purpose in your heart. Find something meaningful to aim for. Could be spiritual, could be worldly, doesn't matter as much as having a focus, and then make that the central organizing point for your thoughts.
He really emphasizes focusing our thought forces on that chosen object
Yes.
steadily.
Yes, consistency and focus are crucial. And what's really interesting is his take on setbacks.
Right, because we all face those.
Of course. But Alan says the strength of character you gain just by persistently striving toward your purpose, even if you fail temporarily, that is a form of real success. It builds the foundation for future achievement.
That's quite encouraging. So the effort itself matters, not just the immediate outcome.
Absolutely. It's about building inner muscle through practice. He believes even the weakest soul, as he puts it, can grow strong through directed effort and right thinking.
Good to know. Okay, finally, the fifth highlight. Visions and ideals. This feels connected to purpose, but maybe more aspirational.
It is. This is where Alan talks about the power of aspiration, of dreaming. He sees the dreamers, the people who hold on to visions, as the real saviors of the world, the driving force of progress.
So our vision is like a promise.
Exactly, a promise of what we can one day become. And our ideal, the highest standard we aspire to, is like a prophecy of what we will eventually unveil or achieve. Cherishing these beautiful visions and lofty ideals is vital, he says.
He gives some inspiring examples, doesn't he? Like Columbus dreaming of another world.
Or Copernicus envisioning a bigger universe, or Buddha seeing a world of spiritual peace. These visions drove them.
So the desire itself is powerful.
Very. Alan states it simply. To desire is to obtain, to aspire is to achieve. Again, not necessarily instantly, but that deep desire, that aspiration, when held firmly in thought, creates the pathway to achievement.
It all comes back to the inner state dictating the outer. He concludes this section powerfully too. Whatever your present environment may be, you will fall, remain, or rise with your thoughts, your vision, your ideal.
A strong reminder of where the locus of control truly lies, according to him.
Okay, so those are 5 big ideas. Let's translate this into action. Our first actionable takeaway, based on all this, is to actively observe your thoughts. Just watch them.
Yeah, this is step 1. You can't change what you're not aware of, right? So throughout the day, just try to notice the nature of your thoughts. Are they mostly positive, negative, constructive, destructive, focused, scattered? The key at first is just observation, without judging yourself for what you find.
That sounds simple, but maybe not easy. How can you remember to do it?
Well, one practical tip is maybe set a few reminders on your phone, just simple prompts during the day. When one goes off, take 60 seconds. Ask yourself, what am I thinking right now? How does this thought make me feel?
Like little check-ins.
Exactly. It's about developing that muscle of self-awareness. Alan really stresses self-analysis as the key to understanding how these laws of thought work. This is how you start becoming the conscious master of your mind, not just reacting to it.
Got it. Okay, takeaway number 2 builds on that awareness. Intentionally cultivate positive and purposeful thoughts.
Right. So once you have a better sense of your typical thought patterns, especially the unhelpful ones, you start the active work of replacement. When you catch yourself spiraling into worry or negativity or just aimless drifting, you consciously choose to redirect your focus. You bring in a positive thought or a thought related to your purpose, your goals, your ideals.
Can you give an example, like if I'm worrying about a meeting?
Okay, yeah. Instead of just replaying worst-case scenarios, you could consciously shift to thinking about potential positive outcomes, or focus on preparing well, or remind yourself of past successes in similar situations.
Or if I'm feeling unmotivated about a task.
You could consciously bring to mind the purpose behind the task. Why is it important? What larger goal does it serve? Connect it back to something meaningful. It's like Alan's garden analogy again. You're actively weeding out the negative and planting the positive. It takes effort.
Makes sense. Consistent effort. Okay, third and final takeaway. Visualize your ideals and desired outcomes regularly.
Yes, this taps directly into that power of visions and ideals we talked about. Our minds work powerfully with images. As Alan highlights, these visions are like blueprints. So, spending time each day mentally picturing your goals as if they're already achieved is a really potent way to strengthen your resolve and direct your subconscious mind, and therefore your actions.
So not just thinking about the goal, but imagining having it.
Exactly. And make it vivid. Take a few minutes, close your eyes perhaps, and really immerse yourself in that achieved state. What does it look like? What does it feel like? Who are you with? Engage your senses in the visualization.
That feels more proactive than just hoping.
It is. Ellen would say this isn't just idle daydreaming. It's a focused mental exercise. It's aligning your thought energy with your purpose, creating a kind of magnetic pull towards that reality, just like the great dreamers and achievers have always done, consciously or unconsciously.
Wow, okay, so putting it all together, James Allen's message, though over a century old, seems incredibly direct. The quality of our thoughts really does shape our character, our circumstances, our health, our destiny.
It's a profound level of personal responsibility, but also immense potential, isn't it?
Absolutely. By becoming more mindful of our inner world, by intentionally choosing positive, purposeful thoughts, and by holding on to our visions, we really can unlock our power to create a better reality.
Well, thank you for joining us on AI Book Highlights for this exploration of As a Man Thinketh. It's a short read, but clearly has a lot packed into it.
It's definitely worth revisiting.
We really encourage you, if this resonated, to delve deeper into Alan's wisdom yourself. Experience its power firsthand. You can find a link to purchase the book right there in the description below. Until next time, keep thinking deeply and living intentionally.